What's going on, everybody? It's WebsterStyle, Brian Sapph from the NRW Checkpoint here with another NRW React. This time we're taking a step back in history, looking at and rebuilding some of the forgotten lessons of America's past in rebuilding Wall Street, which rebuilding Black Wall Street, premiering Friday, September 29th at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central on OWN. In this series, Morris Chestnut and along with an A-team of designers, builders, and experts work with families, entrepreneurs, and community leaders from the Tulsa, Oklahoma community to learn about their history and their goals for restoring their town. OWN Spotlight is sharing their stories as they work together to build a new legacy 100 years later, and the story of Greenwood is finally being told. Let's check out the trailer.
Welcome to Tulsa, Oklahoma. This is the historic Greenwood District, better known as Black Wall Street. I feel pain! A thriving African-American community once spanning 40 square blocks.
Greenwood was created because we were excluded.
Until the massacre of 1921.
Greenwood was burned to the ground and over 300 people were murdered.
1,256 homes burnt down.
This history is recent enough that there are still free people who live through it.
The spirit of Black Wall Street survived.
And the story of Greenwood is finally being told.
My family was here for the 1921 race massacre.
Oh, wow.
They had a house on Lansing Street.
We've been waiting for...
It's just the pressure. We're just trying to do good. We're trying to do good.
100 years later, descendants of that community are building a new legacy.
We don't have providers of color in Tulsa. I'm building a space.
Doing this by myself has been very challenging.
And we're here to help.
How are you?
How you doing?
Defabration. Today is the day.
Teamwork.
Our team of designers, builders, and experts are seeking out Black Wall Street descendants,
This is where my grandfather's business was.
entrepreneurs, and community leaders
There's more to Black history.
Oh, this is dope.
Civil rights movement.
to learn about their goals for restoring their community
I wanted to be part of the solution.
and to help make a difference.
We're here today to make new memories.
And rebuild Black Wall Street one brick at a time.
This looks really good.
I have no idea how we're gonna get all of this done.
Hold on, man. This is not the right bridge.
Oh my
I
God.
might have to watch OWN again for this.
I'm about to say, like,
Proud to be celebrating the opening of a Black
Is that Amanda Lewis?
in the middle of Greenwood.
I don't know, I missed it.
Looks like anonymous. Yeah, I think it is her.
Grandma, I know you
good.
I'm your host, Morris Chestnut, and together we are rebuilding Black Wall Street.
I'm about to DVR
Okay.
that.
Yeah, I like that. Oh, this is warm my heart.
It's it's interesting.
Mhm.
And I'm not going to veer too much off topic, but you can't talk about this with talking about how events like that were so commonplace
Mhm.
in the history of America. And
Right.
I find it fascinating. Well, no, I know why they or people want to act like, oh, those things don't have any effect on today. But you literally burn down over 1,000 homes,
Right.
destroy businesses. What if that never happened? Where would those families in that community be today? How would that have impacted the economy of the state going forward
Right.
over the past 100 years?
Right.
How many Fortune 5? That's even, I think there was a town in Florida the same way. You know, there are many. Lake Lanier was a Black town. There's so many instances of, and I'm not sure. I wouldn't doubt there were towns of that were mostly other ethnicities in the United States that were destroyed. But these Black towns are very prolific throughout our history, and because of our culture, Even down in, I think it's Charlotte, there was a big instance of that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Where would these communities be if those events had never happened, economically speaking? Where would we even be as a country? Because, so many of these larger companies were born from seeds planted, 2-3 generations ago.
Right.
And in many respects, especially with the story of Greenwood, you have so many businesses, so many families that were destroyed because of this event.
Right.
What would have happened in an alternate reality if that hadn't have happened?
Well, I feel like these places would have been able to grow and thrive, and like you said, contribute to the economy of the state in a larger way. It's interesting that you hear the phrase like "pull yourself up by your bootstraps" and all this other stuff. You hear these like little microaggressions and things that basically are telling Black people like, hey, get it out the mud the same way everybody else did. But it's like you build the country, like they build the country off of the backs of your labor and things like that. And then, obviously we realize like, hey, this is not necessarily how things are supposed to be. I deserve some kind of, picking this, whatever crop. You making money off of it. I'm getting beat, put outside in the shed. Like it's not, it wasn't gelling for us. We get free. And it was like, okay, they want us to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps. A couple of us, not even a couple, a nice majority of us were respected enough, at least in the North and certain areas on the West, to where it was like, okay, well, you're a citizen now, we'll give you X amount, do what you can with that. And they turned it into something like Black Wall Street. And then, I don't know, jealousy, anger, rage from, people who were telling you literally like, we don't want anything to do with you. Go figure it out yourself. You don't want to be a slave, then you're nothing. And we did it. And it's like, okay, well, now you're getting a little bit too advanced here. Yeah. And it's just like, what do you want? Like, I always wonder, like, what is it exactly the other side of things? What exactly they want and expect from us? Because the slavery is a no. Working for free, we now are at a point now where we realize like a lot of these jobs and things are just another forms of slavery. The imprisoned industrial complex and all of that, another branch of slavery, and we figuring out ways to dismantle that stuff. It's like, what do you want specifically? Because we are just, as free labor is out the door. So do you want us to stay and contribute and be, patriots and, give back to the country and all this other, patriotic nationalist stuff? Or do you want us to pack up and head to one of these 5 countries in Africa that offer free citizenship to Black people? What do you want? Because burning down the things that could literally benefit you or your benefit the country as a whole, like it just don't make sense. Like a thriving community, you displaced over 1,000 families, took away their businesses and their way of life. And now what? Oklahoma has one of the worst like public school districts in like the country. And obviously they're in a peculiar situation, being that the state is landlocked. So it's almost a food desert over there. Like all of these different things that had you just let us cook now, literally and figuratively. If you would have just let us handle what we were trying to do, these issues wouldn't be so prevalent today, at least in my opinion. We know greed gets a hold of people and things change and stuff like that. But I just feel like had they left things alone, it would be a little bit more to benefit from. Like, what's the problem? And you don't want us around. We figured out a way to build our own, and it's like, well, no, because now because you're advancing faster than us, we got to start that. We got to tear that down. But it's like, we got to pay taxes just like everybody else. So why you just can't let us pay money and let us grow and thrive, and then you just kind of do your own thing and, you know, incorporate what you can. I don't know. I say all that to say I'm very interested in this show. We do hear a lot about, you know, Greenwood and Black Wall Street and everything. And shout out to, I believe that's Killer Mike that has that founded the Greenwood Bank.
Yeah.
Yeah, shout out to him for, you know, trying to keep that legacy and that spirit alive, having a Black owned bank and stuff like that. I'm just, I'm really interested in seeing this. I want to learn more about the history. Morris Chestnut, he's cool. I grew up on a lot of his movies, so that's a great host there. And I don't know. I want to see what this newer generation is doing, because that could really be like a game changer, especially if it's like successful in the ways that it needs to be. We can start to see that a lot of that going on around the country. Really, you mentioned the city in Florida. I believe you're talking about Ocoee, which was like right outside of Orlando. That's an incorporated Orlando like area. So it's just, I don't know. I'm interested, and I'm definitely tune into that. Shout out to Oprah because and whoever else got their hands in it. I like seeing stuff like this. Black people, you know what I'm saying? One thing about us, we incredibly resilient. It's something that should be studied, honestly, because of the amount of things that we went through as a people and we're still going through. It definitely should be some down and out. Like, we should be on the floor, you know, surrendering, but we just don't have it in us to do that. You know, and I feel like something like this show that they're about to do is going to be a great source of inspiration for generations moving forward. So I'm really excited for it. I can't wait to check it out.
Yeah, I agree with you totally. I'm looking forward to the educational piece, but more so the inspirational piece.
Yeah.
And that's what I see. A lot of hope. I see a lot of just looking toward the future while being reverent to the past, both the horrific nature of the things that happened, but also the beautiful, powerful aspects of what that area was and it represented to not just the Black community. This is one of the things I hate, because when we talk about Black history,
it's American history,
right? It's something that should speak to everyone, not just Black people. And it's oftentimes just, especially the way that certain states, hey, Brian, how are things going in your state? Don't answer that.
Well, terrible is the answer.
In certain states in our union, how hell, even mine, with the rhetoric they use, this is information everybody should know, because this is all about history, and they, to use the word, segregate it as if it's not for their own propaganda. And stories like this are needed, because if there isn't a story of quote unquote American exceptionalism and ingenuity and grit more powerful than Greenwood, I don't know what is, as far as what they built, like you said, from their bootstraps. So learning about this, and again, the massacre, yes, it's something they should learn about, because people need to understand what happened. But let's talk about everything before that as well. How impactful was, how you had a thriving community. It's one of those things where I think that is a message that is just as important as understanding the massacre and how it happened and why it happened. So I'm looking forward to this show for that reason. The show we're talking about is Rebuilding Black Wall Street. It premieres Friday, September 29th at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central, only on OWN, aka the Oprah Winfrey Network. It's all about discovery. You've been here with Nerds Rule the World. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at the NRW, on Instagram at New Release Wednesday, and of course, you're currently on YouTube. So make sure you like, share, and subscribe.